Yeah, we're gonna get into this. The name of the video is true. Why I'm bailing out of day trading for now. I've decided to bail out of day trading with real money. I'm gonna go back to paper trading for a little bit. We're gonna get into all of this and much, much more. This is actually a very important life update for me, and this is a very important video that I decided to make for all my viewers out there. From the vantage point of trying to walk before I ran, yeah, I got burned. Okay, I've been trying to trade for 8 months and I got burned. And I'm gonna get into that. And I've always been super, super transparent on this video, but it's not like it's a choice, honestly. I'm transparent because that's who I am. I created this channel because I want to openly discuss and talk about finances. So if you're here trying to build your net worth, guess what? So am I. From driving, Uber Eats in college, to starting a few businesses, to not quite knowing what I want to do, to trying to hustle and grind every day to bring more money into my accounts, I'm doing just what you're doing. I'm trying to build my net worth. And so with this channel, that's what I wanted it to be about. I wanted to express what it's like to go through the trials and tribulations. And I have to be totally honest, sharing what works and what doesn't work. Because, those YouTube shorts that I shared where, I make $1,600 on a trade, it doesn't help anybody if I don't also show that, I had 3 days this month where I lost over $1,000 each day. So I've got to share the good with the bad. Now, if you are at this point watching the video, you're already showing that you're committed. But you don't have to show me, you have to show yourself. And this video is about one thing, one word actually, discipline. The reason I'm losing money day trading is for a lack of discipline. It's that simple. Isn't it crazy? It's that simple. So if you consider yourself a disciplined person or you want to become disciplined, I don't think that I'm disciplined right now. I'm growing towards becoming a disciplined person. Then, stop what you're doing. Maybe you just clicked on this video because you thought the thumbnail looked interesting. Just watch. Just watch this video. And it's going to be a bit longer of video because I have a lot of topics for the video that I've planned out. Don't scroll down to the comments. Don't, view all the different recommended videos on the sidebar. Just listen and watch this video because it's going to be actually very important. If there's one video that you watch today, and I know I scroll YouTube endlessly, hours, all day long, trying to find finance videos, trying to find that one big thing. And the truth is, there's no big one thing. The truth is, it comes from within, and it's the power of discipline. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. Because day trading is very risky, obviously. And if you're not careful, it can go downhill fast. And so when I started day trading, like I said, about 8 months ago, I had some early success. It was far from the crazy, oh man, I just 10x, look at that. But it was some success. I would make a few $100s a day. And that was honestly what I was making in my working life. So I thought, wow, I'm making, what a normal person would make in a 9 to 5 in an hour in the morning before I go to work. That's crazy. I started taking it for granted. So I started trading when my account was like $2,000. That's what I started with. I had some money laying around and I threw it in and I started with 2,000. So I had some good days. But the good days were always kind of like not that rewarding. They were like $50 because I was trading with only like 2K. So every week from there on out, I kept adding to my account and adding to my account. Every time I'd get like a paycheck, right? Bills are paid. Every time I'd get a paycheck, I'd put it into my account. And I'd continue to have winning days, but I always knew in the back of my mind that my risk management at this point was honestly pretty terrible. Like if I had a 5% loser on my account, I just keep holding it and hoping it would go back up, essentially, which it really did. It doesn't go back up, just sell. And the fact that I even allowed myself to have those 5% losers it's just drastically showing my inexperience at trading. But I'm going to make one point here, which I'll go into later in depth later in the video. I kept adding and adding and adding to my account, and I wasn't earning the growth. So pretty soon I found myself day trading with $30,000 because I was just putting all my extra money each month into the account. Yeah, $30,000. It wasn't that hard to ascertain or to attain. Ascertain was the wrong word. It wasn't that hard to attain. Working for 6 months, doing Uber on the side, having a day job, having all my bills paid, not going out to eat, not spending recklessly, I accumulated 30 grand of my own hard-earned money. But there's a difference. Yeah, it's my own hard-earned money that I made working, but I didn't earn the experience to be able to trade with that much in my account. Now, if I'm stumbling a little bit here, I honestly, don't care because I want this video to be authentic, no cuts, no editing. I might be a little scrambly sometimes, but we're not going to cut because this is on an authentic video, and I just want to talk about, the experience that I had in my trading account. Because I made a ton of trading videos about my successes and, how good of a day I had. And then, last month I made a little over $3,000, which was awesome trading. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. The point is I didn't earn my success. I actually hear from a lot of other traders on YouTube that, when you're new to trading, you should really start small. Like that $2,000, that's fine. The $50 a day profit, that's fine because you're actually essentially guaranteed to pretty much lose money day trading when you're inexperienced. And I've learned this firsthand. So, I focused too early on trying to make it a profitable venture and trying to oh, this is my life now. I can become a day trader and have this be my income. But it was too early because, it takes time just to learn the market and understand, patterns, recognize what's going on. So honestly, as quickly as I could, I wanted to get to, oh, look at that, I can make $500 in a day. I'm saying right here that going from $2,000 to $30,000 in 6 months, not being funded by my trading gains, but just by those hard-earned dollars, it wasn't the smartest idea. I hadn't, I just keep thinking over and over in my mind that I hadn't earned the right to trade with $30,000. I haven't earned it. I've got to earn the right to trade with $30,000 because that's actually a lot of money. So, right now I have to take it off the table and just reset. So we're going to skip forward and, continue. I'm on that grind. I'm waking up every single morning at 5 a.m. to trade. There were probably about 10 days in between, last October and now where I got too lazy or I was too tired. I didn't get up in a trade. But for the most part, I try to follow the same routine. Try to be really diligent with my schedule. So, waking up, prepping for my day a little bit, sending an email or two for work before getting on my laptop and checking the updates on the market for the day. What reports were coming out, what was Jerome Powell up to, what was the Fed up to, what companies were reporting, was something going on with Apple or Tesla or Nvidia, that sort of stuff. And then from 6:30 a.m. to an hour or two, I'd be trading. I'd be trying to make some money. Usually I'd trade the NASDAQ, and there are these securities that they're meant for day traders. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that I trade these securities called SQQQ and TQQQ. They're triple leveraged and based on the NASDAQ. One is positive, one is negative. Some days I would try to trade Tesla or Apple or something else. And, there's so much opportunity too. There's an abundance of opportunity in the market, just like there's an abundance of opportunity in life. You can do whatever you want. You can make anything profitable, right? You can make anything profitable. And, but sticking to a craft, and this is important too, because, Like I went to college for filmmaking. I make films. I make videos for corporate clients. I make these YouTube videos. I'm very skilled at knowing how to light, knowing how to film, knowing how to edit. But then I became a real estate agent and I took that under my wing. And I said, this is the thing I'm going to master. I'm going to understand everything I can possibly know about real estate. This is what I'm going to master. And then I got into trading. And I said, this is the thing. I'm really going to get into this. I'm really going to master it. Now, I'm doing all these things, even now today. But the point is, if you're like stuck in life, if you're a younger person and you're stuck in life, you go, I don't know what I want to do. The point is, you got to just pick something. Pick something and keep moving. And then those things will add to your skill set. They'll add and they'll add and they'll add to your skill sets, no matter what you choose. So just be diligent and be disciplined. Every time I look back at the last week, of my trading, I think like, how was I even really trading last week? Knowing what I know now. That's how fast the constant like education and iteration of knowledge is when you're really disciplined and looking and like really studying a craft. You'll look back the past week or the past month and you'll say, what the hell was I even up to? Because I'm so much better than I am now. And that is a great sign of growth. So, this is kind of just like the intro of the video. Let me look at my notes here. And, I want to say thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching the video this far. I hope that you stay a while. I'm glad that I can entertain you with these YouTube videos, and I'm actually super proud that we've been able to grow the channel as fast as we have been. I mean, we've doubled the amount of subscribers since the beginning of this year. We're halfway through the year where we've almost broke 500 subs. It's pretty cool. I mean, ever since I was a teenager, I had like 3 or 4 different forays into making YouTube videos. Gameplays, making like narrative shorts, making all kinds of weird stuff. And I think this one actually is really it. I think this is the channel that's going to blow up. Making these finance videos, it's really helpful both for me, but I hope that I can give back to the YouTube community because I grew up not knowing anything about personal finance, right? I mean, rich parents teach their kids the value of money, and I just didn't grow up like that. So I had to teach myself, and I actually learned everything that I knew through reading books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and some really great YouTube videos out there, like how to use a credit card, how to open a business account, how to open a SEP IRA, just all that kind of stuff. YouTube videos. So like to bring it back around, I'm really loving that on this channel I can cover these kind of topics because it really shows that my acuity for these things such as personal finance, investing, how to manage money has gone up. And I'm interested in news that affects you and your money. Not so much interested in news for the political value, but for how it actually affects your money. I'm very tuned in on what's going on in the economy. I'm trying to really better myself here, and I hope you out there are being bettered by these videos and financial content that I'm providing. I'm just trying to make this channel grow, and I'm trying to provide valuable stuff. So I am working hard. I'm trying to be more consistent with bringing up the uploads, bringing up the videos, and really bring you guys all the essential knowledge to unlock, the mysteries of money and how to build wealth. We're seriously all in this together. I'm not some like self-proclaimed expert here. I'm figuring it out right alongside you. And I decide when I make videos, when I find an interesting topic, I do the research and I put the video out there. The mysteries of money. That's where I get to the main word of the day, of the video. Because you ask, well, what mysteries of money can there actually be? I don't actually believe that there's some big mystery here. Of course, there are these different like financial instruments. Of course, you got to learn stocks, bonds, notes, treasuries, mortgage-backed securities, yada, yada, yada. All these rates you got to follow, all these terms. I love the movie The Big Short. There's this part where Ryan Gosling's character says something along the lines of Wall Street makes up all these terms to make you believe what they do is complicated. But, boil down the essence of what everything in the world of finance, banking, investing, what does it actually mean? What does it truly take to take $1 here and turn it into $2 there? So what's the big mystery, I ask? If you're a kid like me that just wants to get like rich beyond wildest dreams in comparison, you ask, what is the code that you really have to decipher for yourself here? Do you have to become a walking encyclopedia of the financial world? It could help knowing all these things like rates and following the news daily. Should you know some people on the inside and make investment decisions now and then from that insight? Could help. Could also be illegal, like Martha Stewart out there, I believe. She did the insider trading. You could also, I hear, start with $1 million in a trust fund and an heiring stake in a company that's already been built for you by your ancestors. That could also help. And that would make it a lot easier. But no, it's simpler. It's one word. Discipline. Discipline is the key to everything. Having a plan, sticking to it, and making a disciplined effort to stay with simple. Having discipline when it gets hard, but here's the turn. Also having discipline when it gets easy. Keep on grinding, and I'm going to get on that. When it gets easy. You've got to stay disciplined, and you've got to keep following the plan no matter how bad or how good it gets. Notice I'm talking about how good it gets. You got to stay disciplined. And I mention how good it gets because the video is ultimately about trading here. Trading is a very psychological game. And when it gets too good, when you have a week or a month of success trading, your mind will slowly begin to wander, and you'll ease up on your own accountability. Look, my best day trading, I made $1,600, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. $1,600. You know what's the first thing I said to myself when I sold and I cashed out on that trade? I said, wow, I can do this every day. No, I can't do this every day. I made $1,600 one day. I can't repeat it endlessly. So I've got to stay disciplined. I've got to stay with my guard up here. I've got to stay with my guard up. Because if I let my accountability slip, especially trading, especially when you've got 30K on the line, you can very easily lose what you just gained. You cannot take success for granted. Measure it with anything in life. If you start, doing runs every day, eventually it's going to get easier, right? Eventually it's going to get easier. You start out, and I know this, I'm going on runs, currently. You start out, you're out of shape, your eating schedule's all out of whack. You eat like terribly. And it's hard at the beginning running. But if you run 2 weeks, say a mile a day, you run 2 weeks. Well, at the end of the 2 weeks, the mile is going to be easy. And what starts to happen psychologically, you start to take that ease for granted. That's just the human condition. You take things for granted. And this is the point of the video, seriously. When your discipline cracks, especially when you're dealing, with money on the line, especially when you're dealing with something like a business or, anything financial, those, when it cracks and when things start actually falling apart, you're in this uptrend of I'm making money every day. It's so easy. And then you take a loss. Say you take one loss. I took $1,000 loss, let's just say, one day. My psychology is cracked at that point. I'm gone. That one loss destroys all of my morale for trading. And I say psychologically, this happens. I say, oh, well, I got to make up for it, which is also another trading mistake. And then you make more reckless decisions trying to make up for it. And you take more losses. And then the negative psychology starts piling on. And sooner or later, you can end up in a seriously nasty, nasty hole that you created for yourself because you lacked discipline during a key moment. When you took that initial loss, you lacked discipline. So stay disciplined to whatever it is you do. You got to stay disciplined through the up times and through the down times. Stick to your simple plan, to whatever business you start, to whatever trading goals you make for yourself. Stay disciplined. And if you declare that you are actually in fact disciplined, or that you have the goal to become disciplined, that's awesome. That's not something that humans are naturally good at, and it's something that you really do have to work towards. If you declare yourself a disciplined person that really wants to attain their goals, that is a huge, monumental step. That is a huge step. And I thank you all for watching this video to this point on, not checking the comments, not scrolling down to watch other videos. And you could just listen too. In your car, just listen to this video. Just listen and reflect. And I promise you that it'll be one of the greatest moments of clarity for me, because this was really a great moment of clarity. Discovering discipline, and I'm on Instagram just like you, discovering disciplined people like David Goggins, for instance, is all I can think of right now. This man runs 100 miles at one time. Your body can do a lot, but can your will do that much? Can your will do that much? Discipline isn't something that I grew up with. Honestly, I grew up playing Grand Theft Auto until 2 a.m. from the time I was 8 years old, and I was drinking Kool-Aid, and I hated exercise. I wasn't necessarily that unhealthy, but I just, I never really had discipline. I grew up not knowing the luxuries of money. I didn't even understand the freedom that money could afford until recently. So my perspective is, there's these monumental shifts in life where the perspective just shifts, and everything you thought was true before turns out it wasn't true. You've hit the next level. So I've turned myself to following a life of discipline. And it starts with listening actually to your inner voice. I always have these thoughts in my mind, like, what if I run 5 miles right now? Or talking about trading, I don't think the pattern's going that well. What if I sell right now? I had so many times trading where I didn't sell when I had that thought. I said, oh, I think the pattern's wavering. I'm just going to sell. And then, my alter ego goes, no. What if it goes up another 5%? It never does. It comes back down. So wanting to sell or wanting to run 5 miles a day. Yeah, it'd be cool if I did that, but I'm not actually going to do that. Or I'd make excuses, that I'm too tired to run, or I didn't sleep enough to run. Or with selling on my trade, I'd make excuses like, oh, maybe it'll go up. That's not discipline. So the first step to following a disciplined life for me has actually been listening to my inner voice. So now if I say to myself, I'm going to run 5 miles, if it's a thought that just comes randomly running across my head, I'm doing it. I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to go out and I'm going to run 5 miles. No bitching. No saying, oh, that'd be really cool, but I'm not really going to do that. And, in trading, I know I'm talking about two things. I'm talking about exercise and I'm talking about trading, because they both take a huge amount of psychological discipline. You can physically do both quite easily, but do you have the will? Do you have the mental strength to follow through? The rule with trading, and this is why I'm going to switch to paper trading, because I'm going to follow this rule seamlessly. If I feel a trade is going sideways, I'm going to automatically sell. And it's not even up for a debate. Not even up for a debate. So within the broad conversation of discipline comes the context of this whole video. I'm taking a step back from risking my own money to day trade, and I'm going to get to real examples at the end of this video. I'm going to get to the actual numbers, show you the actual daily losses that I've encountered this month, the month of June. As much as it pains me to put up my losses, on screen and show you and show like my family watching this video, most likely, here are my losses. Okay, maybe it's not the greatest feeling, but I have to do it because I made the decision on this channel, to post about my good days trading. And it's not all good days. So I've got to post about my bad days trading too. Okay. We'll get to that. We'll go to the actual losses. And, I know I trade a lot on this channel. I talk about what I did that day trading. I'm going to do that same stuff. I'm just going to go back to paper trading. It's not going to be real capital that I'm risking, because more likely than not, I'm not accepting failure. Obviously not, I'm not accepting failure. But I have to prove to myself that I can consistently win at trading, that I can follow my plan 100%. Because like I said, I've been trading with like $30,000. And since I've suffered so many losses this month, a little over $4,000 I've lost confidence in myself, honestly, to remain disciplined and to remain strong in this process. The process of trading is actually really simple, but I've just let my accountability slip. So I have to go through this whole rigmarole with doing the paper trading to gain my confidence back, gain my skill set up. So going back to the question that I asked earlier in the video, what does it truly take to take $1 here and turn it into $2 there? If you have that intention, if you want to turn $1 into $2, which I know you are if you've been watching this video, you achieve success through one of two avenues. One, either you create a business that provides something to someone, that someone doesn't have the thing you're offering, you've created a new product or service. Or secondly, you arbitrage items of value and you keep the difference as profit. That's trading, that's selling, that's being the middleman. That's it. One is creating something new. The other is taking from the world of value things that have already been created by someone else and shifting them to another party, taking the profit in the middle. Those are the two ways to make money in this life. Now, if you're smart, I believe you should actually be pursuing both of these avenues simultaneously. Like I said, I have businesses. I have LLCs. I have money coming through my businesses. And I also trade. I don't rely on one. I don't rely on just the other. I have both. I've married them together in my personal finance life. What advice at this point? For the first, starting a business that provides a product or service, just kind of think what can I offer the world? What can I offer the world? For the second, buying and exchanging valuable assets, it doesn't have to be trading. It could be like Gary Vee, who flips collectibles. It could be on HGTV, people flip houses. You could trade stocks like I do. I think trading stocks is the most effortless way to do this type of arbitrage because you're literally just sitting on a computer clicking a button. Those are the two things. And it's just staying in the game and not being defeated by the losses. So I want to give a hypothetical example of what my trading strategy has actually been, because I think it's a pretty flawless trading system, and that mic's in the way. I think it's a pretty flawless trading system, actually, if I had the follow through to actually follow this plan to a T. Okay, so say a stock is selling for $10 a share at 9 a.m. And by 11 a.m., the price has risen to $10.50 a share. right? There's something going on with the stock, maybe they announced earnings, or there's just some kind of like rise in the price, right? And this isn't some penny stock where it's a pump and dump. This is just some stock. Like Tesla has days like where it's up 5% just because money's moving around, right? Catching that gain. 50 cents on $10, that's 5%. So my goal with trading is to capture a piece of that 5%, capture a piece of that value, and turn a profit from that. And it doesn't have to be a lot. I don't have to say, oh, I want to buy at the bottom and I want to sell at the top. Obviously, you're not going to do that because the market is like so irrational. No one knows the bottom. No one knows the top on any time scale. No one knows when the real estate market's going to crash. No one knows when it's going to boom. No one knows any of this stuff, right? So my goal as an arbitrage day trader has been to just spot the trend, just spot that 50-cent move. It doesn't have to be a lot that I take from it. So say out of that 50-cent value move, I capture 25 cents of it. I would consider that a massive success. That's a 2.5% trade. Because I noticed the move up initially, I watched it move up long enough for me to feel confidence that there was actually pattern forming. And then when I noticed the trend was weakening, I bailed out. And that's what I'd call a winning day trade. That's that simple. That simple. That's all it is. Following the trend, joining the party late, and exiting the party early. Being at that party for the best 30 minutes of the night and getting the heck out before the cops come. Getting out before the cops come. Just keeping a peace. Just keeping a peace. And in terms of real world money, if I had $20,000 on that trade, for instance, that 25-cent move would mean that I just made $500 on a single trade. $500. $500. $500. Clicking a button. That's all I did. Similarly, if I had $200,000 on that trade, I would make $5,000 in a single morning. I mean, it's scale. I like trading because you profit, the amount you profit is based on the value of the assets that you're trading with. Meaning that you can take the exact same trade, spot the exact same opportunity, have two different amounts of money, and your results are going to be totally different in terms of the dollar amount of profit that you make. It boils down to knowing the skill. Not getting too heavy in the weeds of volume or, float on the security that you're trading. But fundamentally, if you're trading with $1,000 and you're trading with $1 million, I can imagine it's exactly the same. The same exact skill set, just grabbing that little 30 minutes of the party and getting the heck out of there. Getting the heck out of there. And, that's the simplest strategy I can think of. I met with Gary Keller, the founder of Keller Williams. 1 out of every 8 homes in America has the name Keller on it. He told me this. 1 out of every 8 homes. I asked him, how does that feel? It just feels unreal, he said. 1 out of every 8 homes sold in America has my name on it. And he told me, look, and I'm paraphrasing, I can't quite remember what he said, verbatim. But he said, look, you think success is complicated, that it's this huge puzzle that you got to figure out. It's not. Success is simple. Success is going from A to B to C, to following the plan, to sticking to the strategy, to not getting creative too early, and massive success follows. My whole problem with trading has been trying to get creative. Trying to say, it's been up so far, maybe it goes up further. Maybe I'll try to pull a fast one on the market. But the market is not gonna let me take that one. Not gonna let me take that one. Your key is sticking to the plan and managing your psychological state when it comes to trading. And that's it. Keeping it simple. And that boiled down is what explains my problem here. I've not been accepting the plan. A video I made last month, a trading recap. I made this video and I made this whole spreadsheet where I said, okay, if I make 1% per day for 6 months, I'll have turned $20,000 into $50,000. If I make 1% per day for 2.5 years, that $20,000, just by following the 1% per day plan, nothing crazy, so simple, 1% per day plan for 2.5 years, that's over $500,000. I mean, that is insane. So annualized, I'd be making $250,000 per year if I just follow that very simple plan. That very simple plan. Only starting with $20,000. I mean, how good is that? How lucky am I to have a keyboard where I can click a button? How lucky am I to do that while trading? To make $250,000 clicking a button. But I just wasn't, I guess, feeling like that simple plan was a good enough strategy because I blew it. It was so simple. I would think at times, man, why would I want to do that? I think it's going to go up 4%. I think I can make another percent. No. When I find myself in the throes of it, I try to get creative, and that has been my problem. Couple that with a lack of my managing my risk, saying, okay, it's gone down 1%, but maybe it'll recover, right? Maybe it'll recover, which it barely ever does. Those two things. It's just that simple. So let's say I guessed wrong in that $10 stock. Let's go back to the $10 example. That it faked me out. When I bought it at $10.25, I thought that it was going up because the signs looked right, but it actually faked me out. Maybe it went up a few more cents, but it began plummeting from there. And I have to ask myself, I have to take myself through this mind game and ask, at what point do I plan to sell? At what point do I say that my plan here on this trade has actually failed? You know, is it 5 cents? Is it 10 cents? Is it 50 cents? When do I sell? And that's the point. I don't know when I'd sell. If I was down 50 cents on that, a part of me would be thinking, oh boy, it's got to go back up. So the point is, folks, always have a contingency plan. Always have a contingency plan. And this is for traders out there, but I think this video and this message is applicable to more people. You know, what I'm talking about is just simple risk management and discipline. Like with trading, you can never be 100% on your guesses. When you buy a stock, you're never going to be right 100% of the time. And you don't truly know. Look, it's not gambling. It's not gambling. I'm at family parties. I'm at parties with my friends. I say, oh, I'm trying out day trading. They say, oh, it's just gambling, right? No, it's not gambling. It's risk management coupled with spotting opportunities, coupled with following trends. That's what it is. However, if I try to get creative, if I try to YOLO into some stock, then that's when it becomes gambling. And that's what I don't want it to become. I don't want it to become gambling. I play poker, I play Texas Hold'em, I love the cards. I've been playing video poker since I was, 8 years old on my old dial-up internet in South Florida. I love poker, Texas Hold'em. That's gambling. Trading doesn't have to be gambling. So, following this failure this month, I decided I got to cut it off. This is enough for me to say I got to cut it off. I got to take the real money out of here. I got to take it out. Because I didn't, something inside of me, I was down on a trade and I said, no. Okay, I'm down 400. I think it'll go back up. Oh, I'm down 600. I think it'll go back up. Oh, I'm down 800. I think it'll go back up. No, I'm down 900. I think I'm gonna sell right now. And I sell, And then in the day, I don't even take a break. I don't even get up from my computer. I stay on the computer and I say, I've got to spot an opportunity to make $900 back. And then I'm trading recklessly at that point. And then I get wrecked. I lose another $500. Then I'm down $1,400 in the day. And what do? Do I keep going with my psychology being broken? Or do I just give it up on the computer and say, okay, no problem. Tomorrow is going to be a better day. What do you do? What do you do in that moment? So you've got to have the discipline to like make a plan for yourself and stick to it. And my second problem, there's two, was not knowing when to cut my winners. Remember the $10 to $10.50 example I just shared, where you take the 25 cents somewhere in the middle? The theory does sound easy, but the only thing is when you're actually in the moment, you don't know what that $10.50 mark is. You don't know what the top is. So say you're sitting there, it's hit $10.30. You're up 5 cents for the day. And it's the high of the day. What do you do? What do you do if it begins wavering? If it begins wavering, what do you do? If it continues going up after that point, if you're in the money 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, just what do you do? When do you sell? When do you actually know when to sell? Well, I think if you're smart, if you're following the trend line, you're following that stock. And when you see volume begin to waver, when you see the candle start to move like this, you just got to sell. You got to take your profit, and you can keep following the stock and you can look for your next entry. But when you see that trend start to waver, you have to call it quits. You have to take the profit. I think that's a second lesson I really have to learn. Because it's easy to just like look at stock charts from yesterday and say, oh, here's the levels, here's what I should have done. But when you're in the moment, you have absolutely no idea what's going to go on. You can try to pinpoint levels, support and resistance, try to pinpoint them, but ultimately, you really don't know. You really don't know. And you could psych yourself out into making the wrong decision at that point. I've done this so many times. I had a week this month too, not huge losses, but like $300 loss, $400 loss, $200 loss, 3 days in a row. This exact scenario happened. I'm up more than $500 in a single trade in the morning, but then I see the trend start to waver. And my first initial discipline voice says, Bruce, you got to sell. And then my second voice comes in and says, oh, I think I'll continue to hold. And the funniest part about this is I didn't even take some off the table. I didn't even take some profit. You can seriously almost laugh at my foolish mistake here. In retrospect, this happened to me 3 days in a row. I had something in my psychology that said like, oh, I'm just not going to sell. I'm going to keep going. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going up. In 3 days in a row, my lack of discipline meant that I ended up losing money on those days. Think about it. From up 500 to down 400. It's honestly somewhat pathetic. It's honestly somewhat reckless of me to be, trading like that. And so with all that, we're actually going to stop talking theory. We're going to stop talking theory, and we're going to get into the actual action of the video today. Now my computer load, and then I am going to show you my trading for the month. Because I showed you last month. And yeah, the trading was very good last month. But it's not been so good this month. Let me get it here. It's so small on the screen. Okay, just take a second and there we go. Just getting the screenshot working. I said I'm not cutting this video. This is crazy. It's going to be wild. Should have had it prepared. I'm just taking a screenshot because I'm blowing it up because it's very small on my screen. And I want to emphasize all this action right here. Okay, full screen on this screenshot here. Okay, there we go. There we go. This is this month. This is this month. I started the month off negative 349. Second day, I actually made up for it. I wasn't trading recklessly at this point, but over the weekend, I guess I lost my marbles. On the 5th, I lost $1,400. On the 6th, $1,000. On the 7th, yeah, I made $100. On the 8th, I made $200. On the 9th, I made $150. This was actually a good streak. The wins were small, but at least I was coming out profitable, and I was proud of myself for this. Okay, on the 12th, I didn't really trade much. I tried to do a scalp once, and I sold maybe 45 seconds later. I decided my psychology is really kind of broken today, so I'm not going to get into that. On the 13th, I made a killer day. It'd be a great day, if it was just this. But I'm looking here and I'm saying, oh, I lost $2,000 the prior week. And so this 400, it doesn't really make much sense. It doesn't really make up for the fact that I lost $2,000 last week. And then from there, 14th, I started losing. 15th, I didn't trade much. 16th, I lost a lot. 20th, I lost a lot. 21st, I lost $1,000. And this is where I said, okay, I'm done here. I said, I'm done here. The 21st, after that day, I said, okay, I proved to myself I just cannot, do all of this theory stuff that we just talked about the past 40 minutes of this video. The 22nd and the 23rd, they still show losses. What I did is I took most of my money off the table. I bought about $10,000 worth of the broad market, which that's fine. The market, tanked. It tanked, a few percent this week, so that's fine. I don't care. It's in the whole market. It's not in something really risky. But that's what those other days were. After the 21st, I said, I'm going to do this whole video and I'm going to stop with this trying to trade with real money right now. So that's the gist. That's the gist of the video. And I want to leave you with one thought as I close this out. What would you do if you had perfect discipline? How would you act? How would you react? Do you have perfect discipline right now? How do you know that you have perfect discipline? Do you second guess yourself? Do you actually have a thought in your mind of something you want to do? Maybe the responsible thing, maybe the best thing for that situation, but you choose not to because you have some weakness inside of you. In all honesty, it's a world where discipline comes out king. Goggins, for instance, has the will to get up at 3 a.m. every morning, to run 10 miles, 20 miles, whatever he runs. He does this every single day. Gets his work in. At the end of the day, he's in the gym weight training. Goes to bed at 10, maybe a little earlier because he's doing all that exercise. Goes to bed at 8, let's say. Wakes up at 3 a.m., does the same exact thing. And I'll tell you what I've done a lot of times. Before this month, I go on a 3-mile run. I do some weights at the gym. I go, oh, wow, that was a lot of work I did. That was crazy. My body aches, I'm sore. The next day I wake up, I say, I worked out yesterday. I'm good. I'm good for the day. Before you know it, 2 weeks go by, you haven't worked out again because you had that gratification from the first day working out, you felt good, and from that feeling of feeling good, you lacked the discipline. You lost it. You took that opportunity for growth for granted, and you only worked out one day. That is not discipline. And this is what I'm trying to work towards. And I hope that this was a great, inspired video for you guys all out there and girls out there, for everyone out there. This is unbiased. This is real. This is me. This is what I think. This is us together trying to make better versions of ourselves, whether that be through finance, whether that be through fitness, whether that be through mastering your own mind, your own psychology. And with that, I'm going to leave you. So thank you for watching the video. If you're a new viewer, I hope you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I'm going to be making videos like crazy from now on. The grand scheme of going really hard for 4 days, and then 3 weeks have gone by and I haven't made a video. Exactly the same example. I didn't even realize exactly the same example with the running thing and the exercise thing. I feel really inspired in the moment, and I say, there's someone yelling out there. I feel really inspired in the moment, but then I lose that. And that's another thing that Gary Keller said to me personally. He said to me, the work is, it isn't in the times that you're feeling inspired. It's in the times where you're not feeling inspired. Right? If you feel inspired 20% of the time, that means only 20% of the time you're going to be doing that thing that you want to do. Now, if you really want to do that thing, you've got to be there 100% of the time. Maybe 80% of the time you actually don't want to be doing it. But that's where the discipline comes in. And that is where the growth comes in. And with that, I'll leave you. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and hope you have a good one. I'll see you next time.